Hi everyone, welcome back to Vedic Life Coaching. Thank you so much for joining me and welcome to the Sidereal Vedic Astrology Outlook for Saturn Retrograde. This year we're going to have Saturn Retrograde from 13 July through to 28th November. I'm recording this today on the 14th of July, so you can see that my report is one day late. I was supposed to have this report recorded and uploaded last Wednesday, but what ended up happening was here at my place we have had some consequences, I would say, of the Mars-Ketu conjunction. Basically, it's been so interesting. Last week water was out in this building. There was no water for 5 days. So it was a real dilemma, and all of us had to work together to, get onto the building management and come on, let's get the right people in and let's get this fixed and all that kind of thing. Well, anyway, the reason I'm sharing this with you is to say that I had a look at my moon sign report because I'm thinking, did I predict this? And I had a look at my moon sign report, and indeed I did. I had said that you might need repairs at home, and that's exactly what happened. I had no idea that the scale of repair would be what it was. To be completely out of water for 5 days was something very new to me. I have never had that experience before. But yeah, I think this will make me remember Mars-Ketu conjunction always. What I had said about, I think it was June and July, one of the things I commented on as soon as Mars had stepped into Leo, I had said that the conditions would be very dry. And yeah, the conditions were so dry here for like 5 whole days. There's no water flowing through the building. So, but I actually take all of this as some kind of good omen, because whenever you get a pipe repaired or plumbing repaired or anything to your waterworks repaired, I do believe it signals something positive for a person's abundance. So I'm wishing that for everybody in this whole building, that, maybe we've gone through that experience for some very good reason and we're all going to be more abundant now. Who knows? But if you're going through any plumbing problems, know that it might be a very good thing to have your waterworks repaired, because that's flow, that's abundance, it's money, watery energy, all that kind of thing. Anyway, let's take a look at Saturn retrograde. What does this mean for all of us? The news article I have picked out for this particular episode, where we are just looking at Saturn retrograde, I wanted to take a look at, now it's a very small news article and it just impacts Birmingham Airport. Basically, it popped up on my dashboard, a little video saying they've changed the water, not water, but the liquids rule at Birmingham Airport. So I thought, let's have a look at that. Now, I've never flown in there. I don't use that airport. But I clicked on it anyway because I thought, a change to the rule. Let's have a look at this. And basically what they've done is they've changed that 100 milliliter rule at Birmingham Airport only. But what they've said is that you can now carry up to 2 liters. And I'm amazed at this. And I think this is positive news. I think this is good news. And I think they might be trialing this at Birmingham Airport as a sort of pilot case study type thing. They're just going to trial it there. And who knows, they might roll this out, I should say, to airports all over the world. Wouldn't that be incredible? And I think this is an example of Saturn-Neptune being conjunct in Pisces, which is opposite Virgo. Virgo is the place of rules. So rules, laws, all that kind of thing. And now we've got, Saturn, Neptune just opposite, and there's that dissolving effect. So we have a rule that has been hindering humanity for a long time. I looked up how long has this been in place, because I thought this was connected in with, September 2001. That's what I thought it was about. But no, this was actually brought in It says here, introduced in 2006 after authorities foiled a terrorist plot to detonate liquid explosives on transatlantic flights. So I'm like, that's when it was brought in. I thought it was 2001, but pretty close, 2006, 2001. But this rule has been really so unnecessary, you know, and it's got that feel of let's treat all of humanity like criminals, you know, and this is something I've really disliked and objected to as I've flown over the many years. I have seen a few times with my own eyes, mothers have been asked to drink a bit of the bottle of liquid, you know, for their baby, like mothers have been made to drink their own milk and things like that. It's so terrible, it's so bad, you know, and that's not to say that there aren't bad people out there. There are, and there could be, you know, a mother who's pretending to be a mother but she's not, and she's actually a terrorist, and I know that is possible. But then why treat all of humanity like criminals? You know, all this thing has to stop. And I think this is some evidence of a correction. You know, that we've gone too far on the control side of things. So now rules are starting to relax. And yeah, I mean, this feels like a correction, and a good one at that. So I'm going to do a bit of wishful predicting and say, wouldn't it be great that by the time Saturn finishes his transit through Pisces, wouldn't it be amazing if all airports allow people to carry up to 2 liters of water, because that would have positive benefits for people who, say for example, aren't well and they need to carry a bottle of water. You know, 100 ml is ridiculous. Like, we should be able to carry a bottle of water. What about mothers who've got small babies and, you know, their needs need to be met and all that kind of thing? Why should all of us be treated like criminals? This is ridiculous. And I mean, we have so much more advanced technology. You know, they really should be better at catching criminals, but yeah, well, that's a whole other episode, isn't it? I know. One thing at a time, one tiny little step at a time. So let's celebrate what little tiny steps are going in our favor. Let's take a look at what Saturn retrograde means for us personally. So I've given the example of Saturn retrograde. We've got a law that has dissolved, a correction, right? So Saturn is going backwards. We have this rule that's changed. We're finding out about it now in the orb of the time of, you know, retrograde is, I think the news, I found out about it last week. So that's close enough to Saturn retrograde. So how about personally? What does this mean for us personally? Well, I've got here Saturn is the planet of being real, and Pisces is the sign of fantasy thinking. So where in your life have you bought into fantasy thinking or picked up a fantasy at the cost of really making something happen in your life? That is something that we can look at this time. I've got here this retrograde is happening in Kendra to Jupiter in Gemini. So it's important for us, yes, to have dreams, visions, and goals. So Saturn is there in that place of dreams. It's good for us to have dreams. Saturn is also in that house of dreams, asking us to get real about our dreams. Now, this is happening in Kendra to Jupiter in Gemini. So that is getting us to look at what are the tiny steps we need to be making towards making our dreams a reality. There'll be some tiny little steps that we need to do, and we shouldn't be neglecting those things. Those things are really important. I've got here, this is ideal energy to reflect back on your whole life and see where you bought into a fantasy at the cost of something real. So where did you neglect your life in favor of fantasy? And an example of that is, now I often meet a lot of people in my their dream is to write a book, and they want to write a book. But there are people who will spend a lot of time dreaming about writing the book. But what maybe they're not realizing is that the time spent dreaming about writing a book, that time could actually be used writing the book. So this is the thing here. This is the thing that we're looking at. That where have you dreamed about something? And sometimes the dream, it can be just so enjoyable to dream that there's no need to do the thing. And sometimes when we come to doing the thing, we discover, oh, I don't actually like this. So there's that as well, right? So all these things are really good to explore at this time. I've got here, this energy is about buckling down, getting real, and getting things done. Saturn is moving through a place of fantasy. And while Saturn could be materializing fantasies, that's a possibility, but more so, especially with the retrograde movement where we've got strong Saturnian energy, Saturn is more the planet of, hey, let's get things done. Saturn is more the planet of let's get things done versus let's sit down and dream about it. Venus exalts in Pisces. Venus loves to dream. Venus loves it. Let's just think about this thing and materialize it. It will just happen if we materialize. If we think about it, it will materialize. So that's very Venusian. Yeah, and that's cool. I mean, that's good energy too. And that's fun, and it's a good activity. But it's like sometimes for some people, and what I'll do is I'll put a link below, because a lot of my thinking on this stemmed from a video that I watched recently by Alain de Botton. And he talked about how in childhood, sometimes, especially in childhood, this is important because as a child, you're totally powerless. You can't make any changes. Really, you don't have money, you don't have a job, you can't catch a plane. Like, there's a lot of things you can't do when you're a little person, right? So kids will very often rely on their fantasy world just to get by, and that can be a chronic dependency, actually, that lasts into adulthood, and that kind of traps you from doing things in the real world. And what you'll find is that as you become healthy and as you become empowered and as you become powerful in the real world, you'll see that the fantasies start to drop away. The fantasies diminish because you are becoming that capable adult, you're becoming responsible, you're becoming powerful, and so you don't need fantasies anymore, because you're enjoying your actual real life. And that's very healing. That's what we want to be doing and achieving in this world. So we're going to take a look at this for every single sign. And I've got my iPad, so I'm just going to crank that up. All right, so we are now going to welcome Aries. Aries, welcome. This is Aries Ascendant, Aries Moon, Aries Sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. Let's take a look at what we've got going on, Aries. So you've got Saturn retrograde in your 12th house, casting aspect into 2nd house Taurus, 6th house Virgo, and 9th house Sagittarius. So for you, Saturn is getting you to look critically at your dreams and visions for the future. Saturn could also in this place be helping you create spiritual disciplines. So Saturn could really be like, it would be worthwhile having a meditation practice, being disciplined about that. Saturn would love that. That would be a good thing. I've got here, you will have to get real possibly about the need to save money. Saturn's casting aspect into your 2nd house there. When I've been through this kind of 12 from transit, I found it very difficult to save. I found that Saturn's aspect into my 2nd house, it was kind of rinsing me of money. So this might be something where it's good for you to get disciplined about meditation, your spiritual side. Sleeping on time would be great. Saturn would love that. So sleeping on time, maybe you keep a dream journal, fit in the bits that fit in for you. You don't have to do all of these things, but and work out realistically what works for you as well. So I have varied my meditation practice when I've needed to. So sometimes I'm loving my 15 minutes per day. I'm doing that every morning. Sometimes if I'm lucky I get to do it twice a day, but not often. And sometimes if things get too busy, I just might sing the Hanuman Chalisa, or I might just do like a 108 round of my prayer beads. I'll pick some kind of mantra and I'll do that. So I do vary it, but yeah, figure out what you need and realistically what you can do. So that's another thing. So be real about what you can do. I've got here serving clients of any kind or service-based work might really help at this time. It might help mitigate problems. I've got here, or it might even help you to get ahead at this time. Saturn might really reward you. So service work or just being excellent at your job, that's going to be a really good thing. I've got here, if you can engage in structured learning, perhaps you're doing a course, you're working with a mentor or a guide, all of that, there's a lot of power and energy here. Also, this could be you reviewing your skills, or you reviewing what you know and topping up any areas where you have gaps or things that you are a little bit weak on. Maybe you want to, spend a bit of extra time and attention bolstering your own skills or improving your skills, or recognizing, I'm not so good at this thing. I really need to spend some time getting better at that thing. I've got lots of stuff like that. I've got so many where I'm like, I need to get better at this, and I need to sit and do that. So yeah, I've got a long list in my head of stuff I want to do like that. Now Aries moon, you guys are in first phase of Sadhisati. How are you doing with that? I hope it is going okay. Sadhisati is a challenging time, and the challenges can range from everything from life is just boring and Groundhog Day through to, oh my gosh, I'm having to do all these changes that I don't want to do, or I thought it would be like this by now, but it's not. And yeah, I mean, it's Sadhisati can have its challenges, and you are in a 12 from transit. 12 from transit can mean that you might be experiencing some form of losses or big changes that you'd rather not do. It could manifest like that. I know for me, when I've had significant 12 from transits, I've lost health, I've lost energy, I lost my place where I love to live, I lost, like for 3 years. So yeah, it's Saturn 12 from transit, but they're not every 12 from transit is like that. So sometimes it can just be a bit boring and not much more than that. So if you're in first phase Sadhisati and you are an Aries moon, I hope you're going okay. And just remember that be disciplined, be focused, be responsible, show leadership, do all those Saturnian things. The way to combat Saturn's difficulty is to adopt his ways. And I've found that has helped me a lot. So sometimes when Saturn makes my life really slow, I just go, okay, I'll just go slow then. All right, I'll go slow. And that helps. So yeah, and it sort of helps calm down my Mars, because my Mars is just like, oh, come on. We've been doing this at this pace for ages, let's go. But it's like, just go slow. You just go slow now. So yeah. I've got here the note, take your time and make choices that one makes when playing the long game. And look, if this applies to Aries Ascendant and Aries Sun as well, take what you need. But definitely for Aries Moon, you're in the long game now. So yeah. All right, well, thank you so much for being here. We're going to welcome Taurus. Taurus, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So this is Taurus Ascendant, Taurus Moon, or Taurus Sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So now, Taurus, you have got Saturn transiting through your 11th house, and it's casting aspect into 1st house Taurus, 5th house Virgo, and 8th house Sagittarius. All right, let's take a look here. I've got here, Saturn will dig up old things in your psyche. that have been holding you back. Okay, so some of this could be, Saturn really could be working through your subconscious mind at this time. And yeah, some of this could be quite interesting. I've got here, who and what you consider to be sources of authority in your life will be tested and possibly dissolved. Okay, so maybe, you know, and who is that in your life? Maybe it's a parent. You know, maybe you've always wanted approval from a parent, but they never really gave it to you, you know, because they wanted to keep you striving or whatever it was, you know. But there's something in the past you may have considered it to be a source of authority, or it was an authority in your life, or you wanted approval from that thing, whatever that is. That realm or that thing could be dissolved at this time, and life will be asking you to become the authority of your life. Life will be getting you to feel enjoyment from you giving yourself your own approval. That will feel good to you. When you give it to yourself, that'll be enough. Imagine that. Imagine if you're the authority of your life. I've got here, Saturn's aspect into your first house of self is simultaneously testing who you think you are. So there's quite a lot going on, actually, because when I'm looking at what's being dissolved in your psyche, I'm really looking at that 8th house area there. Now we've got, you know, yeah, Saturn's aspecting into your first house of self. Who you think you are is being tested and transformed at this time. So there's quite a lot going on, both psychologically and to do with identity and all kinds of things. I've got here, Saturn's aspect into Virgo is asking you to be more creative in your career, and your extra creativity may well be rewarded by Saturn giving you bigger opportunities. Saturn's in a position to do this now, and Saturn will be in a position, a fantastic position, to give you opportunities, abundance, more than you dreamed of, all that kind of thing. It's possible from now until about Feb 2028. So you have got a very, very good energy here, Taurus. If the going gets tough now and then, and it will, because stuff will come up and there will be difficulties, but when the difficulty passes, see if you can quickly get back to feeling good again, because you'll want to be very present and very ready, because Saturn is in a position to give you things from now until Feb 2028. So definitely see if you can be in the now as much as possible across the next couple of years would be my advice, Taurus. You are in a good transit. Don't worry if stuff comes up. Stuff will come up. You will be tested. There will be difficulties, but you can spring back from it very quickly. Saturn will aid that. Saturn will help you spring back fast. I've got here, a lot is happening. Keep reminding yourself you're in a good Saturn transit. Yes, even if the ride is bumpy over the next few months. It might be. But you've got good Saturnian energy. It wants to help you. All right, Taurus, thank you so much for being here. We are now going to welcome Gemini. Gemini, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So this is Gemini Ascendant, Gemini Moon, or Gemini Sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So Gemini, wow, you have got a lot going on here. Just at a glance, I'm like, oh, yeah. Gemini, basically, I've got it written here. I should have read this out earlier. The dual signs are copying it. Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. These are the signs that are all going to have a bit of a tough transit here with Saturn over the next few months. But it's all right, because, you know, things are tough. But if we rise and meet the challenge with courage and confidence and goodness in our heart and all that kind of thing, Saturn sees that, and Saturn rewards you. If not immediately, he knows, and he'll get you the reward. I've seen this happen in the lives of my clients so many times. So you just got to keep hanging in there. Now, let's have a look at this. So Saturn is in your 10th house, casting aspect into 12th house Taurus, 4th house Virgo, and 7th house Sagittarius. I've got here, it might feel like there is confusion across your whole life at the moment, or tests or challenges in every area of your life. You might be like, where do I rest? You know, things might be difficult. I've got here Saturn will be testing you at work, at home, and in your relationship. All right. So, yeah, I talked in the introduction about fantasy thinking and how our over-reliance on fantasy thinking can be problematic. But I've got here, you might actually need some fantasy thinking to get you through at times. And if that's the case, that's all right, Gemini. You do what you have to do to, you know, yeah, get through tough times. I understand that. I've got here, if you do need a bit of fantasy thinking to get through, make your dreams attainable. Don't make them so outlandish that you're never going to attain them. Make them realistic, make them practical and achievable. That will help. And what I would say here is, well, the one area where you are completely untouched and totally fine, actually, is in being yourself. That could be a remedy for you at this time, Gemini. Be yourself. Just be yourself. And there might be people at work who are making that difficult. There might be people at home who are making that difficult. But you enjoy being yourself on your own, in your own time. Do your own thing. That could be a real remedy at this time for you, Gemini. Doing your own thing. It's good. It's good. I mean, all this spiritual study has helped me realize I love empty space. I love empty space. I don't feel the need to fill it. You know, I don't have any need to fill it. I just love empty space, bit of time out. That might be the remedy, Gemini. I'm wishing you well. You can always let me know in the comments how you're getting on. I'm wishing you well. We are now going to welcome Cancer. Cancer, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. This is Cancer Ascendant, Cancer Moon, or Cancer Sun, as per the Sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So now you've got Saturn retrograde in your 9th house, and that's casting aspect into 11th house Taurus, 3rd house Virgo, and 6th house Sagittarius. So it's actually not bad, Cancer. This is of all the Saturn transits we got going on, yours is quite good, because Saturn's casting aspect into houses where Saturn performs really well. So that's 11th, 3rd, and 6th. Saturn can be a little bit challenging in the 9th. So where you might be tested is where you draw your authority and approval from. Are you the authority of your life? Or are you, and I've got the phrase busy trying to impress someone else coming into my mind, so I'll just share that phrase. But it's like, that's how we can look for, am I drawing my approval from the outside world? We can look at, well, who am I trying to impress? Or whose opinion do I seek? Or, if they said I'm doing a good job, well, that would make me feel great. So then your approval and authority is coming from the outside kind of thing. And what we're looking at here with Saturn moving through your 9th is that you might be being tested, and you might be being tested so that you will rise up and generate and feed to yourself your own approval that, hey, do you know what? I think I'm doing well. And that's enough kind of thing. But that you're doing that in the right areas. Because the fact of the matter is that we are all learning as well. And we could do with, some outside guidance and someone who is more experienced. We're in the 9th house. So the teachers, it's good for us to have a teacher who has done and achieved more than us and gives us approval or tells us how we're doing and all that kind of thing. But so all of this is being calibrated, where we're looking at, maybe you do need a mentor or a guide or someone who's done the path and is ahead of you, and maybe you do need their input. So Saturn might be showing you where you need the external authority. Equally, Saturn might be showing you, hey, that's outdated. you don't need that person's approval anymore. You can give it to yourself, type thing. Okay, so I really do think that that's what is happening here. Let's have a look at some other bits here. Yeah, I do have, I mean, when I'm looking at the aspects, I've got here just a summary for you. All of your aspects are in houses where Saturn does well. So with careful structure and planning, and if you put your head down and do good, solid work, you may be able to get ahead at this time. And that's one of the few signs I'm saying that for this time, Cancer. So you've got a good setup here. You can work with this Saturn retrograde, and you can achieve some good things. All right, Cancer, well, thank you so much for being here. We are now going to welcome Leo. Leo, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So this is Leo Ascendant, Leo Sun, or Leo Moon. Sun came first. Of course it did, Leo. That's your planet, isn't it? So there it is. Ascendant, Moon, or Sun, Leo, welcome. So we've got here Saturn retrograde in your 8th house. This is quite lovely actually, because it's your Saturn is in a Vipreet Raj Yog. Saturn is lording the 6th house. So this is a good Saturn for you. But what might happen when we've got that word Vipreet? Vipreet is opposition. So you might be encountering some opposition across the next few months. But here's the thing, if you face that opposition with courage, you could go up. That's the Vipreet Raj Yog, the king-making star. So tackle any opposition across this next few months with courage, be fighting the good fight, and you might win or achieve something or go up, or or Saturn will see your good work and he will gift you when he can. Okay, so let's have a look at this. And Saturn gifts people infrequently. In the cycle of 30 years, there are only 3 2.5-year chunks where he's gifting people. So yeah, but then that's where he gives big, right? So you see he clocks up all the stuff. Let's have a look here. So now you've got your Saturn in the 8th house, casting aspect into 10th house Taurus, 2nd house Virgo, and 5th house Sagittarius. So we've got here, yeah, if you face opposition at this time courageously, you could emerge victorious. I've got here, you could go up in career, you could earn more, you could gain authority, your creativity could be seen. So meet opposition with courage, and this retrograde could bring you reward. Leo, I want to thank you so much for joining. We are now going to welcome Virgo. Virgo, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So this is Virgo Ascendant, Virgo Moon, or Virgo Sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So now Virgo, wow, you've got it. Yeah, this is a tough setup right here. You're one of the dual signs, and this is, you might feel like your whole life is being tested at this time. That is a possibility. Saturn is in your 7th house, casting aspect into 9th house Taurus, 1st house Virgo, and 4th house Sagittarius. So if you feel like your whole life is being tested right now, that would make sense. Now specifically, I've got here illusions or fantasies could be dissolving in your love life, your sense of power and authority, who you are as a person and at home, in your home life, life with family. So if there have been any fantasies in these areas, those are dissolving at this time. And that's quite interesting, because if they do dissolve, it means you've got some real world power available to you. When we pick up and utilize our real world power and stop neglecting our life, the fantasies start to dissolve naturally. So all you have to do, I think a big remedy for you, is to pick up your real actual power to improve your own life. You've got a lot of power, Virgo. So if you ask for guidance, ask, show me how to improve my life. And if that is a sincere request from within you, the divine will show you exactly what you need to do. And I've got another tip here. I've got one tip that will help. Don't touch anyone else's free will at this time. Let them be who they are, and that will help you to be free to be who you are. So Virgo, thank you so much for tuning in. We are now going to welcome Libra. Libra, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. I'm just checking the time. We're okay. Libra, what have we got going on now? Every time I talk about your Saturn, it's always wonderful. So let's see what notes I have for Saturn retrograde. Your Saturn is 6th from, which is so beautiful. Oh, by the way, did I say, welcome Libra Ascendant, Libra Moon, or Libra Sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. All right, so now we've got Saturn 6th from, so 6th house, casting aspect into 8th house Taurus, 12th house Virgo, and 3rd house Sagittarius. So this is quite interesting. I've got here, your psyche might be undergoing deep transformation at this time. How you really feel under the surface is being tested. Another thing is that any fantasies or illusions might be being dissolved at this time as well. And another way that you can know that this is happening is that you will attract people in and you question, okay, what's really going on? Are they, what, you know, like that questioning could be indicative of the fact that what's going on underneath your surface is being transformed and tested and questioned by Saturn, kind of thing. Yeah, so there's a lot of underground type psychic spiritual clearing, I think, that's happening for you across these months. I've got here, take time and space from people as you need to while this transformative work takes place. Yeah, because you've also got Saturn casting aspect into your 12th. So it's like your whole psyche is being cleared out. Also, Saturn is casting aspect into your 3rd house of courage, confidence, yourself. So a lot is being transformed, but it's kind of underground, under the surface. I've got here, Saturn will give you opportunities to correct things regarding your career and or your friends and or siblings. If there's nothing to correct, then you have time to get ahead. So if you're very up to date and you're very organized, then that's fantastic. You can just get ahead. And that would be ideal because your Saturn is in the 6th. So you've got one of the best Saturn transits going. You're one of the 3 signs that has got a fantastic Saturn transit right through to Feb 2028. So please do make the best of this time and know that if things come up and are challenging across these next few months, your recovery time and how quickly you feel good again should be faster at this time. So look out for that. Look out for, okay, wow, am I recovering quicker than how I used to? You should be able to recover quicker with this kind of Saturn at this time. All right, Libra. Well, thank you so much for being here. We are now going to welcome Scorpio. Scorpio, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So this is Scorpio, Ascendant, Moon, or Sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. All right, Scorpio. So we have got Saturn retrograde in your 5th house, casting aspect into 7th house Taurus, 11th house Virgo, and 2nd house Sagittarius. So your love life might be being tested at this time. Also your kingdom, so what you consider to be your kingdom, your realm, your domain. And that might just be your studio apartment and that's it, right? So that could be all that it is, and that's fine. That's a kingdom. So I've got here your investments, maybe your savings or whatever, your livelihood, how you make and save money. All of this could be receiving the Saturnian treatment at this time. And I've got here, you know, the Saturnian treatment, of course, is where Saturn tests the weak links in your life. And it can feel like Saturn is like pressing on the weak links just to see where is he going to, you know, be able to clear something out. And if Saturn is able to press a weak link, break it, well, the universe replaces it with something better. Always. This is what I have found. I've never found anything is replaced with something worse. Even when I've had terrible things happen, and I've had big losses, and I've had crazy things, but then what is replaced can actually be something abstract. And this is quite interesting. Wow, I didn't know we'd be going here. Okay, somebody must need this in this group. So I'll go with it. Sometimes when I've lost big things, and this could be jobs or relationships or really, really big things, what gets replaced sometimes is very abstract, like a vastly superior relationship with God. You see, now, so if I don't recognize and see that and feel that, then I could be miserable and stuck looking at the past and looking backwards kind of thing, and I could be miserable, but I don't realize. And that's where you get into the now moment. When you're in the now, that's where you're in the heart, you're in discovery, you're in experiencing. So you're in discovering, you're in experiencing, you're in life, and that's where love is, right? So yeah, and it's like there's something abstract. So this is another thing that sometimes God takes things away, but what he fills it with, you see, because what's in the void? If there's nothingness there's love. There's love there, there's God there. See, some of this is very abstract. Okay, well, I hope any of that has helped. We had to go down that tangent for some reason. Very interesting. But if you feel that you've lost something, Scorpio, and it could be a relationship, because we are looking at Saturn's casting aspect into the 7th house. It could be like a whole person, a relationship, you're heartbroken, it could be that. But it's like once the grief and the bad feelings run through and run out, what you're going to be left with is actually a much bigger and deeper connection with God. And I think that is something that people don't talk about, what you get. You get a bigger relationship with God. Sometimes that relationship can be so big that you don't have any need for anything or anyone else. That's a possibility as well. Let's have a look at my notes here. What did I have written for everybody? So I've got here, your love life might be being tested at this time. Also your kingdom. Oh, I went through all of that. I've got here, things can dissolve or change in a lot of areas, but don't worry, it's making way for newer and better. More suitable things that will match where you are going in the future. I'm feeling the energy here. It's like there is a clear out, but some people, if you're not spiritually attuned, you might not realize that things are vastly better. But things are vastly better. Okay, so just, this is where meditation is important, because if you meditate a lot, you won't miss the good stuff. You won't miss the good, invisible, abstract stuff. All right, Scorpio, well, thank you so much for being here. We are now going to welcome Sagittarius. Sagittarius, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So this is Sagittarius Ascendant, Sagittarius Moon, or Sagittarius Sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So now we've got Saturn retrograde in your 4th house. This is epic, Sagittarius. This is tough energy. Your whole life is being tested at this time. So I've got here, Saturn is retrograde in your 4th house, casting aspect into 6th house Taurus, 10th house Virgo, and 1st house Sagittarius. So I've got here, you might feel as though your whole life is being tested, especially who you are as a person, your career, and your home life or relationship with either mother, or how well you nurture yourself. And it could be that you're giving yourself an opportunity to really reflect on how fantasy thinking has shaped your life and has shaped all these areas of your life, your home life, your relationship with your mother, your work, who you are as a person. You know, if you reflect on all these different areas, that, okay, where have I relied too much on fantasy thinking? Because we all do need a bit of fantasy. We need to have a goal. We need to have a dream on the horizon. We need to have an idea of tomorrow. So that's good. But where it gets chronic or unhealthy is where, you know, it can turn into, like with love life, it can turn into limerence, for example, and that's a good thing to study. Also, it could be fantasies of grandeur, of power, of, you know, I am this, or, you know, whereas you're actually not that, you know, so it's that kind of thing. I've got here, where did you believe a fantasy at the cost of reality, and how did it impact those areas that I talked about earlier? So that's career, self, home for you. Those are mainly the areas that you're being asked to reflect on. But yeah, it's really interesting, this whole thing of fantasy thinking. I like to study these things. All right, well, Sagittarius, thank you so much for being here. We are now going to welcome Capricorn. There we go. Capricorn, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So this is Capricorn Ascendant, Capricorn Moon, or Capricorn Sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So now you've got Saturn retrograde in your 3rd house, casting aspect into 5th house Taurus, 9th house Virgo, and 12th house Sagittarius. You have got a terrific Saturn here, Capricorn. So Saturn should be gifting you things. This might take time. We are still quite new into this transit, so it will take time for Saturn to deliver good things to you, but hopefully, if nothing else, you're just feeling a little bit easier, a little bit freer, you know, a little bit more like yourself. These are some of the things that you might be feeling at this time. Now, with the retrograde, there could be challenges that come up. This is possible. I've got here with Saturn's 3rd and 7th aspects, it's possible for my apologies, I've said 3rd. Yes, no, that's right, 3rd and 7th aspects. So 3rd aspect into 5th house and 7th aspect into 9th house. It means that your leadership capability might be tested at this time. Absolutely, yeah. I've got here, applying leadership to difficult situations can help you go up at this time. So if you step in and be a leader at this time, I've got here, this means thinking of all people involved and holding space for the best possible future to occur. So this could be regarding friends, siblings, children, co-workers, father figures. But if you do that, if you think of all people involved, hold space for the best possible future to occur, you are demonstrating leadership, and Saturn can reward that. So that is a good thing to do at this time. I've also got here, fantasies given to you or authorized by people in positions of authority might dissolve at this time as well. And I've got here an example of this, just so that how does that work? For example, a parent promising you something just to keep you around, but they have no intention of fulfilling it, or they're just dangling a carrot to keep your attention on them. That's a possibility, but yeah. Or it could be a boss who keeps this authority figures, look at that. It could be a boss who keeps saying, well, one day you'll be in my shoes, but they're never gonna, they don't want that, actually. But they just dangle the fantasy to keep you around, and there's a lot of that goes on. So yeah, maybe some of these things will dissolve at this time. or you see through them, or, you know, something like this. Wow, Capricorn, there's a lot going on. I mean, you've also got, say, the aspect into the 12th house there. And I mean, what will be good for you is to have a good, solid spiritual routine, you know, sleep at the same time every night, get your good sleep every night. I need to improve that for me. I'm not, I'm being so naughty. I'm sleeping late. Oh, it's terrible because it's bright until so late. But yeah. Basically, like, if you can sleep early, sleep on time, meditate each day, or journal each day, or have some kind of focused activity each day, that's going to be good for you. All right, Capricorn, well, thank you so much for joining. We are now going to welcome Aquarius. Aquarius, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So this is Aquarius Ascendant, Aquarius Moon, or Aquarius Sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So now, Aquarius, you've got Saturn retrograding in your 2nd house, casting aspect into 4th house Taurus, 8th house Virgo, and 11th house Sagittarius. So Saturn is really working to improve your money situation and is helping clear the way now so that this can happen more easily. Things that have been holding you back, so relationship with mother, relationships with family members, and relationship with friends or older siblings are all being tested and transformed at this time so that your financial flow can improve. Hallelujah, Aquarius. It has been a while, hasn't it? See, I've got here, go with the changes at this time and keep hanging in there, Aquarius. All the hard work will be worthwhile. Aquarius moons. How are you doing, Aquarius moons? I know you're in the Sadhisati. You're in the final phase of Sadhisati, so this is good. The worst should have been done by now. Okay, if you look back over the last 5 years, your life has probably transformed a lot. And you might have gone through some very difficult things as well. But you are growing as a soul. You're becoming stronger, you're becoming more independent, you're becoming more you. All of this is shaping you. I've got here, things should be starting to improve. And I've also got here, if you tune in to the future, you will feel it. You've got a very good future on the horizon. You are coming to a phase. So this is, we're looking at Feb 2028 onwards type thing. When you enter that phase, you know, for 2 to 3 years, you'll be able to be in that energy and say, everything has been worthwhile. And I'm so glad I hung in there. You know, you got to keep hanging in there for future you. Okay, and that's all you have to do. So if things are still a bit tough, as they might be, all you have to do is implement more structure and routine into your life. That's going to be a really good thing. And now with the Saturn retrograde, there's stronger Saturnian energy. So it's kind of like there's stronger need, in a way, to create more discipline and structure in your own life. So when things get tough, as per Saturn, the remedy is to become a bit Saturnian ourselves. So we become more disciplined. We, you know, and as well, if Saturn is slowing the life down, you slow down too. Don't go fast and overburn. That's not it. Then it's good for you to go slow as well, and not feel the stress that, oh well, I should have done X, Y, Z by now. Well, if things are slow, you couldn't, you know. So you got to go with what is. So we got to just go with what is. So some of this might be about you releasing where you think you should be by now, and just going with what is, going with the energy that is around. So yeah, if things are slow, got to go slow. That's how it is. Like with this video, I was supposed to have it done last Wednesday, and I've just had to let it go. I'm just like, all right, it's going to be late. It's going to be Saturnian. It's going to be delayed. You know, it's like, okay, that's how it's going to be. I'll just go with it. So yeah, I've relaxed a lot, because I think like several years ago I would have been like, oh, I should get it done. I'll probably be working like last night, and like, yeah, no, I'm just like, all right, no, it's going to take time. Yeah, I've relaxed a lot, I think. Anyway, Aquarius, thank you so much for being here. We are now going to welcome Pisces. Pisces, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. This is Pisces Ascendant, Pisces Moon, or Pisces Sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. Oh wow, look at this, Pisces. Yeah, you are one of the signs that is having a bit of a tough time possibly at the moment. I can see that. It might feel like all areas of your life are being tested. Thankfully, where you're not being tested is actually at home. That should be okay. You should be able to find solace being at home, or, you know, when you go home, it's like that might be a bit of a sanctuary. Home might be your area of sanctuary. But it's quite interesting that, you know, your courage is being tested, your relationship is being tested there in the 7th house, and as well your career in the 10th house is also being tested. So there's a lot of areas of your life are being tested. Got here, if it feels like 1 step forwards and 2 steps back, go slowly and make strategic decisions where you are playing the long game. Recognize that, okay, things aren't happening at my timetable. I'm going to have to just go with the flow of this, and it's slower than what I would like, but I will go with it. I've got here, think of the bigger picture and recognize that everything can't be done in one day. Yeah, again, that's very Saturnian. There could be some things that are happening in your life that they just are going to take time, and you're going to have to give it time. But isn't it good to know that you are being tested a lot? Like sometimes it's just good to know, okay, it's not like I'm doing something, it's that the conditions are like this. And it could be for a few months, like this. Pisces moons. How are you doing, Pisces moon? You're in the Sadhisati, you're in the middle phase of Sadhisati, you're in the tough bit, I will tell you. You're in the bit that is challenging, and I've got here, be ready for changes that might happen through to Feb 2028. And I've got here, if you are on the spiritual path, living a conservative life and being true to yourself, if you are just being yourself, nothing can really touch you. Okay. Another thing that I would suggest to Pisces moons is you can find solace in your work. So you can find solace in your chop wood and carry water routine, whatever that is, however you chop wood and carry water. And I find solace in my work, I find solace in cleaning. I know a lot of my clients, that's where they get their kind of, and Pisces, this is very Pisces, and yeah, cleaning. There's something about bringing order to chaos that is somehow soothing. It's like a self-soothing thing. But of course we mustn't overuse any self-soothing technique, because then it becomes an addiction, and then that becomes a problem in itself. So we can't overuse a self-soothing technique either. But work out what your self-soothing techniques are, and they will be helpful across this time. And definitely your work could well be a solace. I've seen this Saturn moon, height of Sadhisati, people are sometimes working very hard. Equally, I've seen in the collective some Pisces moon people, some big high profile people are stepping down from their careers at the time. I think maybe this was Aquarius moon. This was last year, wasn't it? I think it was last year. The creative director of Chanel, she stopped working at Chanel, and I think she was an Aquarius moon. Let's see if I've got her. I might not have her chart here, but I did look it up, and I could see, okay, she's, let's have a look, Virginie Viard. I don't think her name is, Oh no, I do have it. Is she Aquarius moon? She's an Aquarius moon, yeah. And she resigned from her big job that she'd been in that position. Well, she'd been working for Chanel for 40 years or something like that. And she resigned at the height of Sati Sati. So sometimes that could be the loss, you know, that you resign from a big, long career. So for her, I mean, work would not be a solace, right? That's why I brought all that up, because I'm like, well, there are some people where work is not a solace. They're leaving their work, you know, because it's their time to leave their work. Yeah, so I think that that is quite interesting when people resign from big, high-profile careers and things like that, and why, and yeah. But then she will have a new chop wood, carry water. She'll have a new version of that, which will become her solace, you know, and that will be a new routine that will look different, but there will be some quality of that new routine is sustaining her. And it's like in that routine, we can find rest and solace and stability. You know, structure is a beautiful thing that can be healing in itself. I'm meaning to do this on Patreon. I would like to explore what are the healing qualities of all the different planets, how each one of them can heal us, because they all can. They've all got different ways of going about it, but there's healing energy in all of them. Anyway, guys, I hope this has been a good overview for you of Saturn retrograde. You can let me know in the comments below how you got on, and I look forward to seeing you next time.